Welcome to the Cruise in Review Podcast. I'm Blake, that's Audrey, and that is Norris Frog, the only Build-A-Bear executive producer of any podcast in the Western Hemisphere. He is also our chief party officer at Cruise in Review for all of our hosted group content. And this is our final on-site podcast episode that we'll be recording from you from our Disney Dream vacation on, it's our first ever Cruise in Review Disney cruise. And we have sailed all over the Bahamas for the last week. We sailed out of Fort Lauderdale on the Disney Dream on a 5-night Bahamas cruise. And we've been giving you updates the entire time and doing live podcast episodes. And basically each day is its own podcast episode. So we went to Lookout Cay, we went to Castaway Cay, we went to Nassau, we had a day at sea, and then we embarked from Fort Lauderdale. All of those had their own podcast day. So you can go back and watch those. You can watch or listen. So if you're listening, normally we have a little better audio because we have all the equipment and stuff in the studio when we're home. But since we're on location, maybe not as great. We'll work on that for future episodes.
Yeah.
That being said, we really do recommend that you go to our YouTube channel, Cruise in Review. That's Cruise, the letter in Review, and watch our video episodes of our podcast because we do have a lot of video content. We don't just sit here and talk. We actually play video and show you some of the great things we saw, some of our best video. I'm very passionate about getting and recording video when we're on vacation. It's something I always have done anyway, and now we get to bring it to you. Also, all the formalities are almost over. We are a full-service travel agency, so anything you see that you want to do or we talk about on any of the podcast episodes, we can book that for you. We're a full-service travel agency. Disney, cruise line, land tours. We can also do all-inclusive resorts of any kind, sandals, things like that, plus any cruise line that you see, with the exception of Carnival Cruises. So all that aside, this episode in particular is dedicated to what is kind of the wrap-up of this vacation. We've covered basically everything in all previous episodes, but it was time. Unfortunately, all good things must come to an end, so we're live on location from the Hilton Fort Lauderdale Marina, which is just right near the cruise port. We're staying here one night post-cruise, but going to break this down for you and kind of give our final thoughts, but also kind of a recap of our final day on board the Disney Dream.
Yeah, absolutely. And we had a great time. It was a 5-day cruise. Of course, you guys already know that because if you've been following along, overall experience, I loved it, but I'm also a Disney lover, of course. I thought the production shows were great. I thought the quality of the stateroom was wonderful. I do think there are things that Disney could do better as far as technology goes and as far as things that other cruise lines have advanced in that kind of surprised me that Disney did not have, because when you go to Disney World, you go to Disneyland, there's so much technology that is used within the parks. It kind of surprised me that the cruise line was a little dated in technology, you could say, but the quality of the production, the quality of the ship, the cast members, the crew, everyone we came into contact that actually worked for Disney was excellent. 10 out of 10. The wait staff was wonderful in all the restaurants. So for that aspect, the cruise was great. We did get to go to some beautiful places, like Blake has said, and we've shown you guys. They're private islands. They definitely have some of the most beautiful private islands of all the cruise lines. So they definitely get, perks for that for sure. But we had a great time. We did. We had a good time. I'm glad we got to experience it because we're really going to get to help. If you're looking to go on a Disney cruise or if you're looking to go to Disney World, it's just something that makes our, travel agency knowledge even better when we have come back from experience. We can talk about Disney Cruise Lines, how things work, because we've experienced it.
It does. And I don't ever want this to appear like we come on here because we want to brag about the things we go do. We literally go and try to experience these things and bring them to you so we can actually serve you better. It's a passion of ours. So don't get me wrong, we have a blast while we do it.
Yes.
It's something we're very fortunate to do, but Disney does give us a great deal on this cruise so we could come experience this and then tell you about it and then further book it better. We are certified Disney vacation planners and recognized by Disney as a top tier expert in all of their travel for any kind of Disney travel. So probably where we need to, so again, just to recap, the cruise, 5-night Bahamas cruise on board Disney Dream. We left out of Fort Lauderdale, so there's an episode for that you can watch about everything we did that was fun in Fort Lauderdale. And then we went to Nassau, and we went to Blue Lagoon Island. That was fun. There's an episode dedicated to that. Then we had Castaway Cay. There's an episode dedicated to that, and Pirate Night.
Yes.
That's a fun episode, by the way. Captain Will Barrow made his debut on the CruiseNReview Podcast. Something you've got to see on that. And then we had Lookout Cay, Disney's brand new private island, was the next stop. So we had to see both private islands on this cruise, which is pretty rare, actually. And then, so there's an episode for that. And then now we're talking about kind of the evening of day 4 and day 5. Evening of day 4, we had dinner, a very nice dinner at Palo, which is one of the adults-only dining restaurants on board Disney Dream.
Yes, and it was Italian themed, and the food was wonderful. You know, they had a couple options. Again, something I do like about the Disney restaurants is you have options to do a 4-course style meal that they bring out to you one course at a time. That's a set price, or you can do a la carte option where you get to pick exactly what you want. You can stir away from the preset menu, and that's what we did at Palo, and it was wonderful. We had tried a couple different pastas. We tried the appetizer, a calamari, and then I had a steak. Blake had ossobuco. Yes, and then we had souffle for dessert. And the restaurant service on the Disney ship was incredible. The wait staff was again phenomenal. The food was wonderful. I just wish Disney had more specialty restaurants, in my opinion, because I think that they could really benefit from that, because the service in those restaurants and the food in those restaurants is top notch, what you expect from a Disney restaurant. So Palo, Remy's, we went to both. We recommend both. If you don't get to go, if you can't go to both, we probably would say Remy over Palo, because we had a fantastic experience at Remy. But
Remy's quite a bit more expensive.
Yes,
by a long shot. But
Palo was wonderful.
But yeah, Palo's great if you like Italian food. Again, service in both were phenomenal. I cannot say enough. And they were both worth the money.
Yes.
If you want to know more about Remy and kind of that experience, we did talk about that in the previous episode of the podcast. So you can listen to the previous episode when we were live, still on the Disney Dream, on that one. But yeah, that was really, really good. And then and then it was Marvel Night at sea. And we kind of covered that in the previous episode.
Yes.
And then it was, of course, day 5, sea day.
Yes.
And it was our last day, but it's the only sea day we had on the cruise. So we kind of had to make up for lost time, and we had a great day. Something I do want to talk about, we hit up every adults only venue that they had. And one of those was the Cove Cafe, which was right in the adults only pool area. But you could go in there in the mornings, and they were making specialty coffees. And that was great. You could get a quick up, but there was never very many people in there.
No.
Very uncrowded. So even if you got the kids with you, that's a place to go get a coffee. And it's located in the kind of the adult pool area. It's called the Cove Cafe.
And it was so neat because they, if you ordered a latte like I did, they would print little Disney images on top of the coffee. Just a little extra magic, which I thought was neat. So definitely check out. Most of the cruise ships do have the Cove, so you definitely want to check that out if you're a coffee drinker. They also had pastries in there, so you could get a little snack if you wanted to. But sea day, we hung out at the pool most of the day, which was wonderful. So Disney does have adults only pool, so we ended up hanging out there, and we had a great time. I don't know, we were in there. I feel like we were in there a long time, but we had a good day.
Yeah, we did that. It was a really good day to go kind of explore the ship. We haven't done a lot of that because we were at port every day, and we explored Lookout Cay, we explored Castaway Cay, but not as much the actual ship. And it was a good day. We walked around. We rode the Aqueduct, which is fun. Which is kind of like a water coaster.
Yeah, we did it twice.
And all Disney ships have this, so it's really, really a cool feature that they have.
Yes.
And the one on the Disney Dream is called the Aqueduct. And man, it was a lot of fun, and you get great views of the ocean and of the ship as you went around, and it was a little faster and more intense than I thought.
Yeah.
So that was fun. We did that,
and it was neat that adults could do that too. It didn't have a weight limit. We were able to go together, which was fun. And I mean, we went fast on that thing, so I can't imagine what the kids do. But anyways, that was a lot of fun. And then of course we ended up for lunch. We had tacos again. They have a little taco stand up on the pool deck. That was Ramon's Cantina, I believe, which is from the movie Cars. But we had a great lunch there. Then continued to hang out at the pool for a little bit. I mean, we were just enjoying the sun, and we had perfect weather every day of this cruise.
It was good. We did. The weather was immaculate. It was 80, just about 80 degrees and sunny without hardly any clouds every day. And you'll notice that in the video if you go watch the podcast.
Yes.
They're all, just terrific days. But so much to do on board the Disney Dream. There was mini golf. You could go play. There was the aqueduct. There was the kids pool area. There was.
They had Marvel activities all day long.
There was basketball. There was anything you wanted to do, and it was all Marvel themed all day. And that included dinner.
Yes.
That night we went back to Animator's Palette for dinner. Had a wonderful dinner, and then the final production show time, which was called Believe, an original production show by Disney,
and it was
absolutely terrific. Featured the genie from Aladdin, and it was excellent.
Yes, it was so good. They had some of your favorite, like Lion King was featured, Aladdin was featured, Norse Rock's favorite, Princess and the Frog was featured. So it's so neat that Disney takes all their, songs that you've known for, your whole life. You grew up with these movies, and they mash them into a show all together. So you get bits and pieces of every one of those Disney movies that you may, there may be one you love, there may be one you don't. But the cool thing about their shows is they have the rights to all that music. So they're able to create these amazing shows that kind of blend all the storylines together, and it was just, again, they did a fantastic job with the production. That the shows were definitely
100%.
Quality of what I thought they would be. Everyone that we went to was just amazing, like what they were doing and the fact that they were doing it on a cruise ship. And so that was definitely, we never missed one.
It was not. I mean, they had headliner show times like normal cruises that were cruise ship, like Magicians and stuff. But the Disney production shows, all cruise lines try to do production show times.
Yes.
I think Virgin Voyages has done a good job of kind of not trying to do a Broadway thing.
Yeah.
They do kind of a Vegas thing, and they do an excellent job of it.
Yes.
So excluding them, Royal Caribbean, Carnival, Princess, they try to do these production show times where it's a kind of a story built out of a variety of Broadway and West End musical numbers. They all kind of drop the ball on it. They're decent, but the talent level's not there. The choreography's not there. They seem somewhat thrown together. The costumes are kind of cheap looking.
Yeah.
And that's almost any cruise line.
Yeah.
Not Disney.
Yeah.
They have. It's like something you would see in Disney World or Disneyland. Or as we met the people from. We met some friends at dinner.
Yeah.
And shout out Dina and Joel.
Yes.
We met some friends at dinner, and then there was also some Walt Disney World cast members that sat with us.
Yes.
They call it World and Land.
Yeah.
Because he works at Disneyland.
Yes.
And the other cast members live at Disney, or they work at Disney World. They don't live there.
Yeah.
But they might. I don't know. Maybe it's a small world. But it they call it World and Land.
Yeah.
That's what they call it. It's real official. So anyway, but I don't know what made me think about that. But anyway, my point is it's like something you would see at the parks, at the resorts, or on the big stage at your local or your the Orpheum in Memphis or Broadway. I mean,
we saw Lion King on Broadway, and the small portion of Lion King that they did was just as high quality as when we watched Lion King in New York City.
Yeah.
So great job.
Yeah.
Definitely recommend if you do go on a Disney cruise. If you're thinking about going on a Disney cruise, you do not want to miss the show times. Each ship has different shows. We got to see Beauty and the Beast. That's not on every ship, but I'm sure all those shows are just as high quality as Beauty and the Beast was.
Yeah. So 10 out of 10 on the entertainment, and then I want to get us to get into some recap stuff and like our final thoughts before we get to this. But they did have a big farewell event. You got to meet Mickey and Captain Minnie, Captain Mickey.
Yes.
They kind of co-captain. They're like Barbossa and Jack Sparrow. It's kind of a cute little thing.
Yeah.
So they got both their legs. But anyway, they do a big farewell thing, beautiful send-off. They still actually do the old show CruiseNReview kind of, which is kind of where we got our namesake. Cruises back in the day, children, they used to do something called a CruiseNReview. Okay, and what it was a video of the entire cruise of all the goofy shit that happened the entire time. and they would play it on the last night.
Yes.
Disney actually still does that kinda.
Yes.
But that's where CruiseNReview got its name. Actually, it was the CruiseNReview. And you look forward to it at the end of every cruise, and they would sing a little song.
Yes.
And
we used to sing the Royal Caribbean Farewell song.
And they used to do that. They don't do that anymore. But so anyway, but it was a great little farewell. And then embarkation morning, and you guys have heard my musings about how terrible embarkation was. If you want to, go watch our second episode from this little trip where we embarked on the Disney Dream, and it was a disaster. Okay.
Yes.
Disembarkation was the opposite of that. Disney did something that I've not seen before. Now, Virgin Voyages does an excellent job of disembarkation too, but they do something a little different where you can't get on the ship till later in the day. It's more like a hotel. 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But you don't get rushed to get off, so you can still have breakfast or do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the ship's still yours till about 11 o'clock. Well, Disney, though, they get you off early, like the other cruise lines, and you can get on early. Don't get there early, by God, or they'll stick you in the parking garage.
No.
This is at Fort Lauderdale, not Port Canaveral. Anyway, so they actually let you go to your breakfast at your table that you're assigned for your rotational dining.
Yes.
So ours was Animator's Palette. Shout out Table 71.
Yes.
And you have your dining staff and everything else. And so you just go, drop your bags outside the door of the place, and then you go have a full sit-down, made-to-order breakfast while you're waiting on your luggage tags or your zone to be called. Now, express walk-on, you can just walk off like always. They have that. But we don't do that, and I don't want to do that because I don't want to lug our bags around. In fact, I just saw an article on Cruise Hive where somebody injured themselves trying to lug their suitcases around.
Don't do it.
Yeah, it's crap.
Don't do it.
They're not going to lose your luggage
No.
between here, unless they drop it in the water.
Yeah.
But if they do, they'll get you new stuff.
Yeah.
But I guess my point is I don't know why people do that. It doesn't save you any time. If you have a really, really early flight, which is stupid, you shouldn't do that. You should work with a travel agent. But anyway, if you got a decent flight time, 11, 12 o'clock flight, but basically you went to your table. It was very organized. There was no waiting. There was no lines. If you've ever tried to go to cruise ship buffet on departure day, holy hell.
Don't do that either.
Don't do that. Just eat the pastries, and then Royal Caribbean just throws you in the theater with somebody talking on a loudspeaker.
Yeah.
They didn't. You went in there, you had your breakfast, you could have coffee. You could basically sit in there until it was time for you to go. And by the time we finished breakfast, they had basically released the entire ship to go.
And they never rushed you, and it was a full menu.
Yep.
I had waffles. Blake had, you had a full country breakfast. They had all different kinds of options that you could get: coffee, soda, and so it was great to sit there. We got to see our friends from California again.
Yep.
And one last goodbye to them. And she did send me a picture, so we'll have to throw it up on there.
Yep.
Our friends from California. But yeah, so it was wonderful. Disembarkation day was complete opposite of embarkation day, that's for sure. So props to Disney for that. So we had some really good things that happened on the cruise. We got to see some really cool places. We experienced a lot of fun things. So yeah, that was yesterday. Yesterday was also Valentine's Day, so I had my Valentine's Day ears on. We did snap a picture with Mickey. We went up and I got Blake in a picture with Mickey Mouse, so that was fun. And then we met Cinderella as well. At the See You Real Soon party is what it was called. So it was a nice farewell to a good cruise, but we still uphold that a 5-day cruise is not long enough.
No, 5-day cruise is not long enough. Like I said, Valentine's is great. They did a great little the 2 swans on the bed, and they gave us a little gift. They actually pixie dusted this yesterday, which is not the same as a crop dust. It's so much better than a crop dust.
Yes.
For one, nobody farts on you.
No.
2, they give you things.
Yes.
And I've heard about this on TikTok. But we got a non-alcoholic, so that kind of worked out good for Audrey. I don't think that they knew.
I don't think they
Which,
do.
if you don't know what we're talking about, go watch the other episode from the cabana. That's probably going to be our best episode. We did one of our podcasts from the cabana.
Yeah.
At Castaway Cay. But anyway, so there's news in that one too. So if you don't know what's going on, go watch that episode. But yeah, so it was non-alcoholic, and it had a little note. It just said, here's a little something and pixie dust and whatever. And then Mickey Mouse jumped out of the closet, farted on us, and left. I'm just kidding.
No, he didn't.
I'm just kidding.
No, we didn't. But
that's Northstar's cruise line. If Northstar had a cruise line,
we did maybe at the end. You can share the cute little pictures we took with Mickey Mouse, because we did share with him that a new little Disney fan is on the way.
I keep forgetting that because I think it's a secret. But at the time these are airing, everybody's going to know.
Yeah.
And but nobody really knows right now. So that's what I'm saying. You're really getting an exclusive, but it's like the metaverse. Like, right now nobody knows. When you're watching this, everybody knows. So now you get to know, but you really are getting told beforehand.
Yes.
Figure that out.
So there you go.
But we did show Mickey Mouse pictures, and Dina from California, they sent us a great picture of us.
Yes.
Which she risked her life because she's terrified of heights. To lean over to get a picture of Mickey Mouse seeing the ultrasound photos.
Yes.
And it was just the cutest thing you ever saw.
Yes.
And it was really cool. So, but a great last day, a great send off, and an overall good cruise, a very good itinerary. I've said this over and over again. I don't know, not all cruises are created equal. They're not all the same. In fact, I was just talking to somebody a while ago on the phone about this. They're not all the same, right? And I hear people say, I want to go on a cruise. I need you to understand that each cruise line and each itinerary has its own thing to offer. Disney Cruise Line is the same thing. If you love Disney and you value great service, if you like the parks, if you like that, you will love the cruise. You will absolutely love the cruise. If you're and you can disagree with this is fine, but if you're a traditional cruiser like I am, where you've been on a lot of different cruise lines, you've cruised for a really long time, watch the evolution of cruising, which has not been good for the most part, but watch the evolution of cruising, and you value some of the newer developments, but you value space and advancement and some of the less restrictive things that they've done on a lot of modern cruise lines, you could easily become quickly frustrated with Disney Cruise Lines. And I did. The first couple of days, I just did not enjoy my time on the ship. I didn't enjoy the check-in process. I don't like the way they do the dining. I still don't like the way they do the dining. Now, the wait staff was tremendous. It was like, again, if you've cruised for a long time, you remember the days where you went to the dining room every night. Okay. Well, Disney kind of does that, but it's rotational. So you have the same waiters, and they're wonderful, and they sit you with folks, which is not really a problem with us. And again, Dina and Joel were awesome. We didn't really get to know the other group that was with us that much because it was kind of a weird. The table space that weird, but that was fine with us. But most people don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's just that. And you could kind of tell our table mates that weren't. Not Dina and Joel, the other ones, they didn't really love the fact we were there. Now, they were nice and cordial, but they kind of sat off to one end, and it worked because there was space, but that really wasn't their thing.
Yeah.
And that's okay. They were nice people. It's not that. It's just, and there's a reason why that went by the wayside on most cruise lines in favor of my time dining.
Yes.
This was not customizable at all. We were trying to schedule the specialty dining, and they wouldn't let you switch. So we ended up not even eating at the other two rotational stops. We did Animator's Palette 3 times just because of the way it fell.
Yeah.
And they just could not customize it at all. They were like, that's too bad. You had to go downstairs and talk to the manager.
Yeah.
And I just thought, there's a better way to do that. And I talk about the trajectory of cruising, which most of it tends to break it off in the consumer's ass. But the evolution of dining on cruises has gotten better than it used to be, where you had to go at a set time and you had to sit with people.
Yeah.
I don't mind to sit with people, but most people don't want to do that. It sounds horrible.
Yeah.
And you were locked into that. The buffet was not open at
dinner.
night, which is the only cruise line I've ever been on where that wasn't the case. So you didn't have a light fare. You could go eat. I get the food trucks on the pool deck.
Yes.
One of the specialty restaurants or room service, or you could go sit at the table they assigned you. And I don't like that. And I think a lot of people who are traditional cruisers, have been on other cruises, or even like the all-inclusive resorts like Sandals, and then are maybe trying to cruise, they won't like that.
No.
And so, but not all cruises are created equal. If you're bringing the kids, if you're a social person, if you love Disney and you love the shows and you love good service, Disney is for you. But I grew frustrated. The check-in process was, no pun intended, goofy. The check-in process was goofy, and not in a good way, not like goofy, like goofy. Took way too long. There are a ton of first-time cruisers, and that's okay. But for me, it was aggravating for a while. They make lines where there's just no need to be a line at all. It's like over-structured. But for first-time cruisers who don't know what they're doing, for those with little kids, it was probably fine. But again, it wasn't maybe aimed at me. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't, I'm not their target demographic. And that's important to understand. Just like Virgin Voyages isn't the target
Yes.
demographic for like more conservative individuals who are going to be offended by certain things or
That's
picky
also-
eaters. You know, and Royal Caribbean is targeted at like families.
Yeah.
Princess is targeted at like, you know, upper middle class adults.
Mhm.
You know, it's just what it was, but it was still enjoyable.
Mhm.
You know, it was still enjoyable, but it was different.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, it was different.
Yeah, but you know, you talking about maybe you're not their target demographic. That's important. Booking with a travel agency, because we do try to find the best fit for you. You know, you may think you know what you want, but then when we get to talking about it and get to explaining things, you may back off of that and say, "Man, I don't want to do that." Well, then we can look at another cruise line, or we can look at another, you know, another itinerary, whatever the case may be there. But that is the benefit of booking with a travel agent, and especially, you know, we get the opportunities to go experience the cruise line so we can better serve you, because before we went on Virgin, we had no idea of the way Virgin did things. You know, that they are very geared towards adults. They're very geared towards, you know, if you're a picky eater, don't go on Virgin. You know, there are things that we have learned.
We love trying different foods. You don't need to go to Remy either, by the way, if you're a picky eater. But you're right. We realized very quickly it wasn't for most of our clients that we book. You know, we're not going to book a lot of that.
Yeah.
In Disney, I know people right now that are talking to me about booking cruises that they would not enjoy that. But I know a lot of people who do. And I know a lot of people that have gone and that will.
And love it.
And it's a quality experience. It really is. Is it 3 times the price of other cruises quality? I don't know. I'm not, but there are people who will tell you that it is. And that's okay. That's why we do the podcast, and you're right. That's why you work with travel. And you know, we've been described as pushy sometimes when you work with us, and that's pushy like in a nice way. But we're just like, no, I don't think you're going to like that.
Yeah.
If you've ever worked with us before, you've heard that from us, most likely. We don't think you're going to like that.
Yeah.
And the reason why we say that is because we know we've asked you and we've talked to you. And if you're ever working with a travel professional and they're not asking you the things that you like, then you need to find a new travel professional. And it needs to be us, because we do that. But no, all that pushing aside, that's why we like doing it for people. And it's one of the reasons we stopped offering Carnival cruises. I got so sick of sending people on Carnival cruises, or people coming back from Carnival cruises to want to work with us on another trip, and they're like, we didn't like it.
Yeah.
We didn't like it.
Well, we tried to tell you.
We didn't like it. Or it was this, or it was that, or it was whatever. And that's not every client that we booked. So a lot of them had a great time. But we just made the decision just to not offer that anymore. It's, don't get me wrong, if you love it, great, go do it. But we're looking to offer something a little different, and a product that we can stand by, and a product that matches up well with our clients. And most of the clients we work with, it's just the circle we're in, and it's our experience as travel professionals is not going to be that demographic.
Yeah.
It's not going to be people that they're going to like that, and we know that. We know that. And so if you want to have fun and you're a little bit more outgoing, we have cruise lines for you that we trust better.
Yes.
So we use them.
Yes. High quality.
Yeah, if you're like, man, I do like to throw down. I like to have a great time. We do too.
Yeah.
You know, we've got that for you. But we also know too, if you got the kids and you love Disney and this is the thing for you. And I will stand behind that, because I trust you're going to get great service.
Yes.
I trust that you're going to
will
love
have a
it.
wonderful time.
It is a high quality experience. It is not cheap. And if you've heard a lot of my later musings about cruise lines nowadays, they've cheapened the experience a whole lot. Disney has not done that. And I cannot stand up. Like you said, the stateroom was good. The bed was comfortable. It was one of the larger, just traditional balcony staterooms I've been in. Twice a day room service, which most cruise lines have stopped.
They don't do that. You know, fireworks at sea. They're the only cruise line to do fireworks.
We got
at
fireworks
sea.
at sea twice.
Yes.
One on Marvel Night and one on Pirate Night.
The quality of the
Captain
production shows. Quality of the production shows. Quality, you know, the service that you got everywhere we went on the ship, whether it was at a bar or a lounge or, you know, in the buffet. I mean, quality service. You know, the food was great. The food in the dining room was just typical dining room food, but the food as far as the specialty restaurants go, I mean, it was high quality service. So you are going to get a great experience. And if you do have kids and you guys do love Disney and you love going to Disney World, you're gonna love the Disney cruise. You're at, you know, we will set you up, put you on the right ship that you're gonna have a great time. And so, but that again, kind of full circle. I mean, that's why you book with a travel agent, because we are able to kind of guide you and help you, gear you towards things that you are going to like, you are going to enjoy, because we're not just going to send you on a cruise just because we liked it and we had a great time, because not everybody's like us, and that's okay. And so, so definitely hit us up if you're thinking about going to cruise, if you're thinking about wanting to go to Disney World, Disneyland, a all-inclusive resort. We can absolutely help book any of that. But it was a great time. We'll probably go again, just because the quality of the shows is just incredible, and we personally love production shows, and so quality of the shows, the stateroom, plus we want to go back to Lookout Cay for sure, because that island was beautiful. 100%. So that's it. And we're going to cover that in later episodes, I'm sure, about our top beaches that we kind of talk about every once in a while. And so we'll probably go again just so we can go to Lookout Cay.
That is the next episode. So what we're going to do on the next episode of the podcast, because we're running out of time, is we're going to finish up kind of putting a bow on this, because I don't want to rush this, but we're going to talk about kind of our favorite things and our least favorite things. We've done a little bit of that, but kind of put a bow on that cruise and just kind of put that done. And then the second half of our next episode of the podcast, we're going to do our top 10 beaches that we have visited. Not in the world, because we've not been to all beaches in the world. We're trying, but we've not done it. Top 10 beaches that we have visited. We're going to do that in the next episode of the Cruise Review Podcast. Stay tuned, and we'll be back for all of our audio. You can listen to us on audio, or you can watch it on YouTube. Our audio listeners will have the mics back and everything else, so you won't have to listen to bad audio anymore. But we'll do that. That'll be the next episode of the podcast. Anyway, but you can follow us on all social medias. That's where you get kind of live, up-to-date content. Our TikTok's really taken off. That's really done well with our content. Got a lot of good feedback and questions and information on there. So you can follow us on TikTok. Any of our social medias, that's at CruiseNReview, Cruise, the letter interview. You can also go to CruiseTheLetterInterview.com as well. And again, you can listen to the podcast on the go, anywhere you get them. Amazon, Google, Spotify, Apple, anywhere you get your podcasts, you can listen to the Cruise Review Podcast. But you can also go to our YouTube channels and hit that subscribe button before you go, so that way you know when our new latest videos come out. Got a lot coming your way, but next episode, top 10 beaches we have visited. We got video and everything from all of them. But it's been fun. We're very fortunate to have gotten to sail around the Bahamas. It's a beautiful place, and it's so much more than just like Nassau. It's so we had a great time, and shout out to the Disney crew for giving us a great week, and shout out to Disney for giving us a great deal to get to sail with them and try this and then bring you the content. So that's the least we can do, is to pump them up and give their content, and great service, great shows, and a great itinerary for sure.
Yes, absolutely. So again, check us out on social medias. Follow Norse Frog on social media. He is on Instagram, so he posts his travel tips and what he does in his daily life. Sometimes it's interesting, sometimes we don't know what he's doing. But anyway, so follow us along. Come back for the next episode. Go watch the other episodes. Go find Wheelbarrow.
Captain Wheelbarrow.
And comment
Wheelbarrow.
and let us know if you think Wheelbarrow should make another
Why is there
appearance.
always going way through?
Anyways, guys, well, thank you so much. And look forward to our next trip, doing our next week-long live podcast wherever we end up. Who knows? So stay tuned, find out what that is.
Yep, that's Audrey. That's Norse Frog. I'm Blake. Bye-bye for now.